everything that physically exists, from galaxies to human beings to quarks. We're learning more about how all of it works every day, but there's one question that the modern world has put on the back burner, and that's, does the universe need to exist? I'm not talking about beginnings or physical causes, I'm talking about necessity. Even if the universe has always existed, which science does not support, by the way, does it need to exist? In this context, if something is necessary, then it must happen. If something is unnecessary, then it may or may not happen, depending on external factors. And if left to itself, it will not happen. So if something unnecessary happens, then its occurrence is completely contingent upon something else. I'm not talking about physics here, but let me give you an analogy using physical forces in place of existence, using the same definition of necessity. If I'm holding this book and I let go of it, does it need to fall? Well, it could either fall or not fall, depending on the forces applied to it. So its falling is not necessary. In this case, the book does fall. Why? Well, because the falling is contingent upon the force of gravity. On the other hand, if the book is resting on a table and I let go of it, it won't fall. Why? Well, because the normal force of the table is counteracting the force of gravity. So it's as if no external force at all is being applied to the book. So we see, falling is unnecessary for the book, and if left to itself, the book will not fall, unless it is compelled to do so by external forces. This analogy illustrates what I mean by necessity and contingency. Shouldn't it be the same way with existence? Does the universe need to exist? Was there absolutely no possibility of the universe not existing? Everyone who I've discussed this question with, atheist and theist alike, has given me the answer no. It doesn't need to exist. A self-professed atheist and naturalist gave me the complete answer. No, the universe does not need to exist. It just does. Now, while this answer may seem almost profound on the surface, upon closer examination we realize its fatal flaw: intellectual suicide. Let's return to my analogy using physical forces and consider this answer. If I let go of this book, does it need to fall? No, it doesn't need to fall. It just does. This is the death of scientific curiosity. It displays an unwillingness to pursue the matter any further. Can you imagine if modern man applied the same dead-end logic to science as he does to philosophy? Just imagine the stagnation of material progress we would experience. Yet, the question, does the universe need to exist, is so much more transcendent, important, and poignant than any question of physical forces, because ultimately it's linked with the question of who we are and why we're here. Does the universe need to exist? It seems there's a consensus that it does not. And if the universe does not need to exist, then that means its existence is contingent. And remember, the universe is everything that physically exists. So if everything that physically exists is contingent, then there must be something beyond physical existence upon which it is contingent. There's your proof of the supernatural. Thomas Aquinas says, "Therefore we cannot but postulate the existence of some being having of itself its own necessity, and not receiving it from another, but rather causing in others their necessity. This all men speak of as God." So that's why we exist. That's where our meaning and value come from. You might say, well, why does this necessary being exist? Because it must. That's the point. since if all existence was unnecessary, then nothing at all would exist. That's why we can't have an infinite string of unnecessary beings, each one causing the existence of the next, because infinite contingency is still contingency. There are many other philosophical principles that can lead us to understand other characteristics of this necessary being, but I've only covered one today. I'm not saying that this one philosophical principle alone can prove the existence of the revealed Christian God with all of his unique characteristics. I'm only demonstrating that the possibility of his existence is philosophically sound, and also that it answers questions which cannot be effectively answered otherwise. Is this simply a God of the gaps theology? Well, is gravity simply a science of the gaps principle? Have you ever seen gravity? Have you ever held it in your hand? No, we only know it exists because of its effects. We accept gravity because it makes perfect sense of otherwise unexplainable phenomena. If you are not also an agravitist, then you have no excuse to be an atheist. Thanks for listening. God bless.